We've lost track of days. But anyway, we know this is our last ride, whatever day it is. Yeah, I know it's Thursday, but day X of the Kal Trek. Anyway, I'll put it up in text. Today's ride will start by riding around the old rifle range, which is a lovely track. Used to be our training track for Rainless to Rawlina. We have Riley and Kizzie walking together with occasionally their ears forward. Compared to the first day when Kizzie was trying to kick Riley. Progress. Woohoo!
It's progress.
Sisters and brothers! Always good to have interesting obstacles to desensitise the horses. A couple of lounge chairs. It tastes good. Woohoo! Fence. We need to go over that Nolan's making safe for the horses to step over. Hi, Kizzie. See? Come on. Come on. Robin? Oh, catch! I mean, he's standing on the scary bit already.
One more step, buddy. So sweet. He's going to lift his leg. Just otherwise you take him for a walk over the other logs at the back there. Just bring him around. So, you know, he's going to walk over logs and then he's going to walk over that. We're walking now. I can just do it up.
No. He's gone over everything else. I don't know what it is that he's worried about now. He might just be very respectful for wire.
I think he's been caught up.
And it's going to do a bit of groundwork with him. Let's see how that goes. Guess what we're going to be practicing lots of when we get home. Yeah, Kizzie had a carrot. Look.
Now we just need to let him sit for 5 minutes to think about it.
Good boy. this is Robbi's track because this is the scooter that she burnt after it threw her off. Ha! Yeah. So we're now on Robbi's track, the one that she calls the Pet Cemetery track. We're looking forward to seeing what it is that she describes as a pet cemetery. Cemetery. We found the cemetery. Brutus and Sheila.
And there's one more.
Huh. Huh. Cute. Wonder if they're all part of one pet. Pretty Aeromophila flowers. The end of our 8th and last ride on our Kalgoorlie Trek 2023.
Absolutely brilliant. 22. Thank you, Robin.
2022. I'm in 2023 already.
Did everyone have a good time?
Yes. Mike's getting it all over his face. And then he's very lazy. Oh, normally they get up like that.
Yeah.
But often he just gets up on his haunches and switches to the other side. Like that.
Yeah.
Very lazy. All set up for our last fire. This is the seafood mornay in preparation. Everything just cooking up before I put in the cheese sauce. I've cooked all the seafood and just added peas and the cheese sauce. Now I'm waiting for the cheese sauce to melt and meld. Hopefully it should be good. Macaroni cooking on the fire. It is ready. And we have macaroni to go with it. Woohoo!
I just might put that there for a sec to do the piles of cheese.
Yep, there.
Pretty delicious. Very good. Very good.
You haven't tried it yet.
I was just following you. Thank you.
Everyone's got to have parmesan. Yum. We're about to be treated to some bush poetry by Kenneth Edward Ball, Esquire. And we're going to start with
50 Shades of Grey from the husband's point of view. We all know what the story of 50 Shades of Grey is, yes? You've all heard of Pam Ayres.
Yep.
So Pam Ayres is a very, very squeaky clean storyteller and performed it on behalf of a close friend of hers, 50 Shades of Grey. Well, the missus, she bought a paperback down Shepton Mallet Way. I had a look inside a bag. It was 50 Shades of Grey. Well, I just left it to it and went to bed. An hour later, she appeared, sight filled me with dread. In her left hand, she held a rope. In her right, a whip. She threw them down upon the floor and then began to strip. Well, 50 years or so ago, I may have taken a peek. Mabel hasn't weathered well, She's 84 next week. Watching Mabel bump and grind could not have been much grimmer. And things went from bad to worse, and she toppled off a Zimmer. She struggled back upon her feet a couple of minutes later. She put her teeth back in and said, "I'm a dominator." Well, if you knew our Mabel, you'd see just why I spluttered. I spent 2 months in traction for the last complaint I uttered. She stood there nude and naked, bent forward just a bit. I went to hold her sensual like, and I stood on her left tit. Mabel screamed, her teeth shot out. "My God, what have I done?" She groaned and moaned and shouted out, "Step on the other one!" Well, readers, I can't tell no more about what occurred that day. Suffice to say, my jet black hair turned 50 shades of grey.
Well done.
Well done.
Well done.
Got away from my favourite pub. The night was dark and still, and I thought I'd take a shortcut home that led over Cemetery Hill. Now, I'm not a hero, as everyone knows, and I had no reckless trends, but ghosts and the like leave me cold, as it were, and spirits and I are old friends. Trevor's tortured testicle had swelled up to twice its size. Word spread quickly through the park about the situation. People came. All these poems are true stories. And this is a poem about a Aboriginal stockman. Won every single rodeo championship that Australia had to offer. But at 50 years of age, had never been on a horse. Never been on an aeroplane. Hence the title Turbulence. Here's the tale of Billy Hayes from out in the Alice Springs. A wild young ringer in his days done some crazy things. He's jumped bulls over fences. He's raced the cold up Ayers Rock. His legs weren't made for walking, they were made for riding stock. A legend around the rodeo from Ayler on the Broom. An untried horse at 6 a.m. was saddle broke by noon. No form of equine foolery he wasn't game to try. There was only one thing that ever spooked him. He was way too scared to fly. Well, if I was meant to do it, I'd have had feathers on a beak. You can fly and be in a day, I'll ride and waste a week. I hear they're safe as houses, and mechanically they're sound. But I don't see no rope or bridle, so I'm sticking on the ground. One day Billy got a call from his mate in Adelaide. He'd got his girl in trouble and the wedding cards were played. He says, "Oh, mate, I don't care how you do it. You can beg, steal or borrow. But, mate, you're going to have to catch a plane because the big day's on tomorrow." Billy cursed and spat. "That dopey bloody coot. He knows I'll jump on anything that's coming out of a chute. I caught staying the queue. I'd caught bulls going right up their brain. But I never thought there'd come a day that I'd have to catch a plane." Billy legged it to the airport and thought, well, this is it. The lady at the counter said, "Sir, where would you like to sit?" Oh, you know that little black box thing they always seem to find? You could stick me right inside if you didn't bloody mind. The lady just smiled and said, "Sir, I'll just take your bag." Billy says, "I don't bloody think so, and by the way, it's called a swag." Bill was sweating buckets when they finally cleared the strip. He had his seatbelt on that tight, he was bleeding at the hip. But when they levelled out, he relaxed and looked around and thought, "Oh, this flying game's a breeze." He unclipped his belt and stretched out his seat. Well, he couldn't stretch that far because his swag was at his feet. Then the captain crackled something. Bill asked the hostess what was said. "Sir, you'd better buckle up. There's some turbulence ahead." "Turbulence? What's that?" "Sir, it's pockets caused by heat. And when it gets severe, it can throw you from your seat." "Right, mate, I'll be buggered." Billy pushed his seat right back. He wrapped his legs around his swag. He jammed his left hand through the strap. Pulled down his Akubra and he was now ready to ride. And by this time, things got pretty bumpy and Billy yelled, "Outside!" Well, the plane had dropped 1,000 feet. It rose up 500 more. When he near hit his head on the ceiling, he gave a mighty roar. "I've rode all through the territory and I've never come unstuck. So give me all you got, Big Bird, and buck you bastard buck." And while the passengers were screaming in fear of certain death, Billy whooped and hollered till he near run out of breath. You'd have thought that canvas rag was welded to his ass. And before the ringer knew it, He backed up into business class. There was no taming this creature. It had 10 gears and reverse. That didn't worry Billy, he just bucked on through the first. Hit his somersaults twist on this mongrel mount from hell. He yelled out to the pilot, "For Christ's sake, ring the bell!" Now, Bill was bleeding from the bugle. He had cuts above both eyes. And if you went there on the spot, you'd think I was telling lies. He'd been upside down, inside out, done trips with triple spins. And you may have seen some great rides in your time, but hands down, Billy wins. The flight returned to normal. Bill was flat out on the deck, still stuck to his swag, but he looked a bloody wreck. He pulled himself together and stood up straight and raised his hat. He says, "I've had some tough rides in my time, but never one like that. An 8-second spin in Alice proves you made of sturdy stuff. I was on there near a minute, and I reckon that's enough." But first-class folk were dumbstruck at this crazy ringer's feat. Billy, he just grabbed the crownie and went back to his seat. Now, Bill's long given the bucking game away. Too many breaks and dusty miles for far too little pay. Now, planes are not a problem. In fact, he'd rather fly than ride. And when you talk about his maiden voyage, his chest puffs out with pride. You can talk about them Rocky Neds or that old chainsaw bloke. Why, I'd ride them both without a rope and roll a bloody smoke. There's cowboys around here who think they're hot. Well, they ain't tasted heat until they're ridden time on turbulence at 50,000 feet. Thank you.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much.